Welcome to the Stress-Free Dentist Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Eric Block. As always, I want to inspire, entertain, and educate you on the best tools and technologies out there. My goal is to help make your practice and career more profitable, efficient, and most importantly, more enjoyable. And check out all of my nonfiction and children's books on Amazon, and check out the stressfreedentist.com for any upcoming events. And if you're feeling you're a dental professional that's burnt out, or you just feel stuck or want to get to that next level, visit the International Academy of Dental Life Coaches, or www.iadlc.com, and we'll get you matched up with a life coach that understands dentistry. I also wanted to thank our amazing sponsor, Equa Marketing. They have helped me and my practice over the years to improve with SEO and website performance. And to find out how you can make your practice dominate in your area, go to www.equa.com/MSMSFD to book your complimentary meeting. Again, that's www.ekwa.com/MSMSFD. All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode. And I am joined by one of the founding members of the International Academy of Dental Life Coaches, or the IADLC, Lani Grass. How you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Do you say your last name Grass or Grass?
I would love to say it's grass because it sounds so much better, but it's grass.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think I added my own little twist to your name, but it has been a pleasure to get to know you over the past couple years, and you really have so much to offer and how you help dentists. I'm looking forward to hearing all about your wave of women and all about what you're up to. But let's actually just dive into first how you got involved with helping dentists.
Yeah, thanks. So it's interesting stories. I've been a coach for 14 years now. I started my practice in 2010, and it's just been evolving over time. But my husband, who had been a nurse for a long time, decided to go to dental school. So in 2015, he was starting dental school. And so we always have support each other. So I started going to the school and just hanging out with him and breaks and stuff, and then chatting with the women there. And said to him one day, wow, there's so many women here. I didn't know there were so many women in dental school. This was crazy. And I looked into it and found out that about 50% of dental school, even at that time, was women, which is shocking because if you look at statistics across industry, that's a really big percentage going into getting the doctoral level of education. So I was already a coach, and I just started, it was very organic. I just started having get-togethers with the women, say, hey, do you guys want to go off site? Let's get some appetizers and let's just network and mingle. Let me teach you how to network, make friends that are outside of your group, and so that they can help you in the future, and let's learn from each other, and let's create a bigger circle. So it started me teaching them how to network. And then one thing led to another, where I was starting to have local events. They build a name, and then I niched into dentistry because it was very organic, and I love these women. I love, they're so inspiring. And yeah, it was very comfortably niched into that direction. And I've been niche in dentistry ever since.
Now, would you describe yourself as a coach, a consultant? How do you actually these one-on-one sessions that you have with the dentists?
Yeah, so thanks. That's a great question. And so I am both. I'm a coach and I'm a consultant. Let me describe the difference. A coach is someone with coaching certifications, we believe that the client has all the answers. So we'll just, if you're a true coach and you're not consulting at all, you're just asking really good questions, believing that the client has all the answers. People come to me for actual advice and scripts, though. So that would make me a consultant. So I'm actually I have my own programs, like I have leadership programs. I help people with confidence, and then I have to help them to know what to say in that situation. So therefore I'm a hybrid coach consultant.
Did you find that was a lot of what people were lacking within themselves, was confidence?
Oh, yes. What's interesting is there's different parts of us. there's parts of us that are confident to, we know we're smart, we're outgoing, we can become a dentist, right? They can go to grad school and get the doctorate. You're confident about that. But there are parts of you maybe not confident about other parts. For instance, just because you're confident doing that doesn't mean you're confident having a maybe difficult conversation with somebody on your team, or standing up for yourself when a patient says, hey, you look about 15. I don't know if I want you doing my teeth, as a new grad. Or, so there's different layers of that. There's also, are you confident having a conversation that's uncomfortable for you because you become friends with, your coworkers? All of that comes into play, and we don't learn that in all the many years of school that they've
I think
gone.
you literally just described like my first 10 years in practice. I had major imposter syndrome when I first got out because I looked like I was 15 and I looked like I was wearing like my dad's jacket, and I'm trying to explain and educate treatment to CEOs and lawyers and doctors, and I didn't look confident, and a lot of them didn't say yes to treatment, and that was probably because of my lack of confidence. But as I got older and started to really believe in myself and almost not care if the patient didn't move forward with treatment. No, I not to say I didn't care about them, but I would present my treatment. If they didn't accept it, I'd move on. I wouldn't beat myself up. But how do you uh, gain confidence as a young dentist? What's your best advice there?
Um, so there's different levels of that, but else the most important thing, and this may sound counterintuitive, but is to really know who you are and embrace it. You have to embrace who you are, your personality. So like you said, the imposter syndrome that's not where you want to go. You may be doing things that are uncomfortable, but you want to be yourself, because when you're not yourself and you're trying to do something that feels really uncomfortable, that's really somebody else's personality, it's not going to feel confident coming out of your mouth. And remember, communication is at least 50% nonverbal. So even if you're saying the right thing, but you don't believe it, you're not saying it from your authentic self, then it's not going to land very confidently on the person you're saying it to. So the first thing is to know yourself and to really own it. Own your story, own who you are, own your personality, and start leading with the parts of you that is the most confident from there, and start growing that, instead of just going, okay, now I'm a dentist and now I'm going to act like a dentist and I need to say this and just going to play the part. That takes a lot longer to develop your confidence, because it's still the pathway. You'll still practice something that doesn't feel like you, but then you'll get attached to the parts that feel authentic years down the road. Like you said, it took you like 10 years. You can learn that stuff early on, right out of dental school, or maybe during dental school would be ideal.
Now, yeah, I really struggled with that because I was pretending as soon as I graduated and started practicing, I had, the white coat on, and I'd pretend like I'm the dentist and I am not going to let you into my life and really let you know who I am. And I think that to a point, it's really important to have, certain barriers between you and your patients and your staff for sure. But I started to get more comfortable with myself, and I would let people into my life, and I was able to make connections with patients. And just for me doing that and not really hiding behind the white coat and pretending, that was a huge game changer for me. Do you see that a lot out there with dentists that are gaining confidence?
Oh, absolutely. Because a lot of people will tell you, I mean, relationships are so important. And so you have to find the commonality between you and your patient, but also being curious about them, remembering things about them, and so that you can see where you connect. Also, one of the tricks that I tell, it's not a trick, but it really is a life hack. If you want to build relationships, you start paying attention to the stories that they tell you. Put that into your long-term memory, put it into, if you're a dentist, put it into your notes somewhere, a story about, how many kids they have, this person likes to fish, they fished Montana fishing story, put that in your notes. When you keep track of stories, it's something that you can share with other dentists, and you can, I mean, other patients. You can say, hey, I have another patient who loves to fish in Montana at the stream. Have you ever been there? And so you start building story banks that maybe you like fishing too. And so do you see how it just starts rolling, and then you start building not just stories, but connecting points with your different patient demographics. And then that's how it all starts. Then you find more connecting points. So this is how to build relationships. But you see, it all comes back to who you really are. And so this is how to build a personal connection to your patients. But professionally, to build that confidence, I always say, you went to dental school, just be honest. So if you don't know about something, just say, I'm not really sure about this, but I'll find out for you. So don't lie to people. But if you know what to do, you need to be confident. You need to own the information that you're giving them. You need to decide to be confident, because that's what they can come to you from. So even if you look young, even if you're not super experienced, if you know what the next thing is to do, you need to tell them. If they're saying, wow, you look really young, say, yeah, I get that a lot, but I know what I'm doing. And this is what you need to do, Mrs. Jones. Absolutely. And this is what it's going to look like. And then you just tell them. And people love it when you're honest. People love a provider that's confident about what they need to do next. And if you don't know what to do and you're honest about that, they will respect you and trust you. So the components of a personal relationship, being confident and making a decision to own the information that you're giving them, all of that will build that confidence really fast.
Yeah, you just flip that around in like 2 seconds, because I used to get that a lot. You look so young, and it would like throw me off, and I didn't know how to answer it, and then I would stumble. But to just quickly say, "Oh, I get that a lot," it's kind of funny, but someday people won't be saying that because I'll be older and I'll have more gray hair. But and then quickly, go into that confident mode of Mrs. Jones, this is what you need, this is why. I love that. Now, you also mentioned about having barriers and boundaries, which is super important. Do you mean that with your patients or your staff, or a little bit of both?
Yeah, so yes, both in all areas of our life, really. And I want to say briefly, because boundaries is a hot topic, and it's something, and I say hot topic because when I do a client clarity forum, when people start working with me, I say, what areas bother you? And boundaries is always very high on the list. And boundaries are not a perimeter that keeps things out. That's how we view boundaries. Like if somebody is talking disrespectful, we're like, we're not going to allow that. We're going to stop it, right? Or boundaries could be, this is something else you might think, I'm going to set a boundary because I am doing too much and I'm burned out. So now I'm going to say no more extracurricular activities other than my children or whatever, right? And then everything's a boundary perimeter. That doesn't really feel good, though. It feels like a lot of effort because of the way you're looking at it. So a boundary, you have to decide, is what is it protecting? Okay, so you're protecting something with the boundary. So if you think about this, let's say you give too much of your time away. This is very common. People give too much of their time away. They say yes too much, often to extra projects that are not suited to what they're trying to create with their family and their balance. What you could say is, I'm protecting my mental wellness and protecting my peace. And that's important to me. So then when you say no, it doesn't feel like you are letting somebody down. It just feels like you're honoring yourself. Right. And so in the workplace, if you think about a boundary, when somebody like a patient is talking disrespectful to you, it's like, it's not just that, okay, so here are the rules and we're going to protect the rules. It's like, we're going to protect our team members in the way we want them to love love coming to work, want them to feel safe. So we're going to protect the energy and the culture of our practice by not allowing this. And for somehow that little shift gives you more courage to say the thing and drop the patient or speak to them or whatever. This shift is actually a game changer when we're talking about boundaries in any situation.
What about with the staff? I made some, mistakes. I was a young dentist. I was single, and I would go out, for drinks after with the staff, and uh we'd party, and it was just never, it wasn't a great idea. I feel like I really feel like I should have kept more boundaries with stuff like that. What are your recommendations there with the staff?
Well, okay, so let me go backward to say if you haven't been in that situation yet, like you're starting out, do you want to? Okay, so let's just say you're not in that situation yet. There's two answers, right? So you haven't yet. One of the first things when I work with new dentists is I say, one of the things you want to avoid is building the relationship with your team that you have with your friends. And I understand why you would want to, because it's all you know. That's how we build relationships. Like, why wouldn't you do that? It feels comfortable. It feels good. In your mind, you're like, this is team, this is camaraderie. This is what we do in dental school, right? We build, this is how we build team. However, in leadership, it can backfire pretty quickly, actually, because it's the self-identity between the team and you. And so when you know you have to say something that might be uncomfortable, it's going to be hard because it's going to be like talking to your friend who doesn't respect you at that level. They may like you, but they don't respect you. So I would say be careful about not doing things like that, or just going for a little while and leaving and not oversharing. Be caring, but don't overshare, and don't let them overshare with you. There should be a slight boundary where it's like, what do you need? What can I bring in to help you? Instead of you taking on the onus of fixing whatever. It's a balance, and it's not an easy thing. So that's what I would say. That's one of the pitfalls to avoid when you're a new dentist. If you are already in the situation, which is super common, and then because it feels really great, and you have this team is like, yeah, we're all in this together, and I'm going to communicate every little thing, right? But then say something comes up, and you have to say something that they probably won't want to hear. Probably the first thing you'll do is avoid it. Second thing you'll probably do is tiptoe around it, or you might give it to your office manager to say for you, so all those scenarios are very common. Or you could set this person down and having a conversation that honors both of you. And just say, I really care about you. We become friends. And let's talk about our relationship here at work. We're here at work, I'm the dentist, I'm the practice owner, and I have to make decisions based on what's good for the practice, or we won't have this to share. You won't have the job that you enjoy. And so I want to talk to you about this situation. So let's step out of this and let's step into our respective roles, and let's try to honor each other for our roles that we play at work. And so it's going to take a resetting of your self-identity when you're at work. Okay, so that conversation is a gentle conversation, but it is about honoring who we are in the workplace, in the practice.
Yeah, that's great. When I was an associate and I was young, I just wanted everyone to like me, so I'd kind of say yes to everything. And but as a dentist, an owner, an associate, specialist, you got to be a leader. You are a leader, whether you're not the practice owner or not. You're still a leader, and I think having those barriers and uh, those boundaries are super important. What about some uncomfortable conversations especially around money. Let's say
Mm.
a staff member is kind of saying, "Oh, hey, Doc got another Tesla. You know, I want a Tesla," or something uncomfortable like that. Or, "Hey, looks like the Doc got a new bag or
Mhm.
watch." How do you handle those conversations?
Yeah, I would, first of all, what I would tell, this is one of the things that I do, I tell, my clients, and it's something, it's way better to think about these things in advance. So when they come up, you're not thinking about, oh, because you're caught off guard. And if you're caught off guard, you may just say too many words. That is more about making it better, which makes sound like people pleasing, or you feel guilty, or like, or this isn't that, or I had to save for a year to get this, or whatever it was. We make an excuse because we're caught off guard. So I would say, think about it in advance. And I would process it in the way where, if you put in the effort, you put in the years, you're making this money, you deserve everything that you buy. It's your choice, and you owe it to yourself to do what you want to make your life happy. We have one life, right? If a team member comes up and says something like that, you number one, if you think about it in advance, you will expect it, right? So these comments will come not only from your team, but it'll come from friends, right? And family members will also give you the same type of thing, where you could say something like, yeah, thank you. I love it. Yep. You should see the inside. It's really cool. Just own it. Just, yes, have them celebrate it with you. Oh, yeah, you must be making a lot of money. Yeah, well, I wouldn't say I'm making more than, you know, I wouldn't play into what they're saying, but I also wouldn't make excuses and just say, I feel like I deserve it. Do you feel like you deserve the things that you want to buy? Do you ever treat yourself? What kind of things do you like to buy? When I work really hard and I've made sacrifices, I like to buy stuff. Do you like to buy stuff? Oh yeah. Okay. Well, what do you like to buy? What do you like to splurge your money on? Oh, well, I love to go to Starbucks every day, or I like to take this vacation to Disneyland, or I like to buy a nice bag sometimes too. Oh, that's cool. You want to come look at the inside of my Tesla? Bring the team out there and celebrate together. Just don't make it a thing, and don't act like you feel guilty. Never act like you feel guilty. And I would just say, in this instance, even if there is a part of you that feels guilty, that is an old mindset, a money mindset problem. You don't need to bring that into the workplace because it's contagious. Okay. I would say that's why you need to think about it in advance, so that you
Yeah,
don't feel like hiding any part of yourself.
be prepared. That I love that. I was just thinking of an answer. Oh yeah, I love watches. That's kind of my splurge. I love dark chocolate. What do you like? What's your splurge? And kind of just turn it around.
Absolutely.
That's such a great way to handle that.
Yeah. Own it always. I mean, why not?
All right. Now, what do you think, Lonnie, is what's dentists are most stressed about now? What do you think's going on out there? What are you seeing as far as stress and dentistry right now?
There's a lot of different things going on, but from a life coach perspective, I'm finding that people are overwhelmed a lot. They're actually stressed out and feeling overwhelmed and maybe trapped in a way. And I think there's two things going on. We're much more aware of stuff that we've never been aware of before. So maybe there was a time when it always felt like this, and we just agreed and said, yep, that's the name of the game. That's what it feels like. And then we just bury it and we move on and we just deal with it, and we burn out, and we could be miserable. Now we have all this information about mental health and what a burnout looks like and what a balanced life could feel like. And now we have an awareness. So what happens when you're aware? So let's just say, for instance, you like white BMWs. And then you get into one and oh, this is nice. And then you get out of that test drive and you see all these white BMWs on the road. Once you're aware of it, you can't unknow what you know. So now you're aware, wow, this doesn't feel good, right? So I think the big thing going on in dentistry is that, I mean, it's a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is that we're aware. The bad thing is that we do get ourselves in a situation where we get overwhelmed and stressed out. The good part of that awareness is taking the next step to recalibrate and to figure out what is most important to us so we can start subtracting the things that we don't want and adding more of the things that we do want, and then making those decisions to create the life that we actually want.
And now I want to get into a little bit about your focus, Wave of Women. What about women in dentistry? What are you seeing out there? What's the biggest issues that women are facing in dentistry right now?
Well, when they get out of school, it's the same thing that men deal with, you know, it's a confidence issue, except that women, I think in general, have it even worse in the way that they lack respect even more. And not even just from patients, but also from team, I've noticed. And so I think there's it's a bigger hurdle to overcome, unfortunately for women. The other thing that I noticed too, so we all have problems with work-life balance, and we're thinking about living a balanced life. And a lot of my clients have is partners who pick up the slack. Okay, so or they can hire a housekeeper, a nanny, or whatever to help. So it's not like they're not having the help. They don't have to go home and do it all. Problem is, in their mind, they think they need to do it all. They're still feeling like they're in charge. So it doesn't matter. So if you say the woman is a primary breadwinner in the family, she's a dentist practice owner, she has all the help she needs, she'll still want to be the one to drop off the kids at school, I notice. Still want to go on more field trips, still want the other things, even though she has help. So I think it's the push and pull of the balance that you actually want in your life. So that, and I will say that is in dentistry, but it's also everywhere. It's our society. It is the way our societal roles that come into play with men and women in the workplace. So it's an ongoing thing that we need to recalibrate.
Mm-hmm. All right, Lani, I want to finish with two final questions. Number one is, how do we find out more about what you're up to? And then you've already given so many great nuggets of advice, but second question is, what advice would you give to the young dentists out there?
For the young dentists, I would say the most important thing is to be open-minded. You've learned a lot, but you still need to learn more about people. You need to learn about yourself. So be curious about, start studying about yourself, start studying about people and leadership. And that's the next thing you really need to learn, because that's the real business that you're into is the people business. Okay. How someone can get a hold of me, they can follow me at waveofwomen_dentistry on Instagram. And if you have any questions, you just want me to answer a question for you, you can just send me an email at joinus@waveofwomen.com. And I'll be glad to answer that question for you.
Awesome. Lani Grass, such a pleasure, such a great episode. Thanks for all that you're doing, and thanks for being a guest on the podcast show.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks again for listening to the Stress Free Dentist podcast. And don't hesitate to get in touch with me at info@thestressfreedentist.com. And if you haven't already, please subscribe on your favorite platform and leave us a review. Until the next episode, I'm Dr. Eric Block, the Stress Free Dentist.